Ivory Coast versus Norway is not just a Haaland match. The real question is whether Ivory Coast can control the midfield long enough to stop Norway's first forward pass. My AI simulation has this game close at halftime, but Norway edging it after 90 minutes. Ivory Coast 1, Norway 2. The strongest content angle is both teams to score because Ivory Coast have enough transition threat, but Norway have the one player who can decide a knockout game with one touch, Erling Haaland. For Ivory Coast, the expected shape is a 4-3-3. Yahia Fofana starts in goal. The back four should be Gueladue, Ousmane Diomande, Odilon Kosunu, and Ghislaine Konan. In midfield, Ibrahim Sangaré, Franck Kessié, and Chris Inau Ulai give Ivory Coast physical power, ball winning, and transition coverage. The front three should be Amad Diallo, Nicolas Pepe, and Jan Diomande. For Norway, the expected shape is also a 4-3-3. Ørjan Nyland starts in goal. The back four should be Marcus Pedersen, Christopher Ajer, Torbjørn Hegem, and David Müller-Wolf. In midfield, Sander Berge and Fredrik Ausnes give Norway structure, while Martin Ødegaard is the main creative link. The front three should be Alexander Sørloth, Erling Haaland, and Antonio Nusa. But the key battle is not just Haaland against Ivory Coast's defense. The real key is Kessié and Sangaré against Ødegaard. If Ødegaard can receive a turn and play the first vertical pass, Norway become extremely dangerous. Haaland attacks the box, Sørloth gives them another physical runner, and Nusa can stretch the game on the opposite side. Norway do not need to dominate possession for 90 minutes. They only need 2 or 3 clean moments around the box. That is why Ivory Coast's midfield job is so important. Kessié and Sangaré have to stop Ødegaard from playing forward too easily. They need to protect the central lane, win second balls, and force Norway into wider, slower attacks. Ivory Coast also have a real route to goal. Amad Diallo can attack the full back in transition. Jan Diomande can run into space when Norway's shape opens up. Nicolas Pepe gives them the final action quality, especially if he receives facing goal or attacks from the right side. If Ivory Coast can turn midfield pressure into fast wide attacks, Norway's defensive line can be tested. But Norway's advantage is efficiency. Haaland does not need many chances. One cross, one loose ball, one penalty box touch, or one set piece can change the match. Ødegaard's delivery is also a major weapon, and Norway's size gives them a clear set-piece threat. That is the biggest reason my simulation leans Norway, even if the match itself is close. At halftime, I see this as either 0-0 or Norway 1-0. Ivory Coast should be careful early because if they open the game too much, Haaland can punish the space behind the centre-backs. After the break, the match should open up. Ivory Coast will have transition moments through Amad, Pepe, and Jan Diomande. But Norway's finishing edge should matter more over 90 minutes. My final prediction is Ivory Coast 1, Norway 2. For goals, the strongest scorer lean is Haaland. Sørloth, Nusa, or Ødegaard can also be involved in Norway's second goal. For Ivory Coast, the goal route is most likely through Nicolas Pepe or Amad Diallo. For corners, I expect around 9 to 10 total. Norway should get around 5, especially because of their set-piece threat and wide deliveries. Ivory Coast should get around 4 to 5 from transition attacks and blocked crosses. The best content betting angle is both teams to score. Over 2.5 also makes sense, but it is slightly more exposed because knockout games can start carefully. If you want the safer result angle, Norway to qualify or Norway draw no bet is cleaner than forcing a 90-minute money line. So the final call is clear. A close first half, Ivory Coast 1, Norway 2 after 90 minutes, with Haaland as the main difference maker. A prediction is on record. After full time, I will audit the model: scoreline, goal route, corners, tactical read, and betting angle. Betting